Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor Modern Indian History series. One announcement for you, the IAS Mentor has come up with a proper mentorship schedule. For further details, please keep following the IAS Mentor channel. We are continuing the rise of nationalism. This chapter, sixth chapter, is a very big chapter. Both in prelims as well as mains, lot of weightage is given to sixth chapter, sixth and seventh. That is why we are trying to understand multiple dimensions by making into small chunks. In this session, we are going to understand INC formation in 1885. There is a big question about INC formation, that is, was it a safety wall? This organization was established in 1885, Indian National Congress. And even today also, that organization still exists, playing important role in the Indian politics. But when it comes to the formation, in 1885, the Governor General, who was the Governor General and Viceroy, the designation is like this: Viceroy and Governor General of India at that particular point of time, Lord Dufferin. Lord Dufferin. He is the one. Lord Dufferin, Viceroy and Governor General of India, 84 to 88. During this time period, Indian National Congress was formed. First meeting was held in Bombay with a 72 members delegation. It was held. But already we have seen in the previous class that was it the first organization? Was it the first political organization in Indian context? No. Since 1840s, 1830s onwards, political associations were growing. We have already seen some organizations are there even in London also. Dadabhai Nauroji created one organization and he tried to create awareness among English subjects about India. In Bengal also, in Bombay itself, in Madras also, various organizations were there. That is why formation of Indian National Congress is not something new in 1885. But gradually this organization occupied significant stage in Indian politics. Before 1885, Indian National Congress was formed. The main objective of this platform is to create one all India platform. Already some efforts were made to create such kind of platform before 1885 by Surendranath Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. They wanted to bring all the political leaders into one single platform. That organization was called Indian National Conference. What is the organization? Indian National Conference. When it comes to this Indian National Conference, two times it was held. Indian National Conference, both in 1883 and 1884. Remember, as I said already before the beginning of the chapter itself, this chapter contains so many people names, so many organizations, so many people, so many events associated with the developments of Indian National Congress. That is why we should not dump everything in one go. I am breaking into multiple parts so that when you watch one part, at least you will remember 4 or 5 people in that particular topic. Surendranath Banerjee, Anand Mohan Bose, Indian National Congress. In Bengal, they were already playing an important role in generating awareness among the public about nationalism. So they wanted the idea of nationalism spread strongly across India. Now, in 1885, there was one retired civil servant, A.O. Hume. A.O. Hume. A.O. Hume wanted to create one All India platform. That platform idea resulted in the formation of Indian National Congress. Now, if there is an organization which is going to fight against the British Raj, why this organization was created by one English person? Is it like a safety wall for the British? That means British administrators wanted to stop 1857 type of Great Revolt. That is why if they bring the leaders into this platform and this platform delegations, these platform meetings, everything government will come to know in advance. If that is the case in the first place, why Indians will go and join hands with A.O. Hume? That is the historical debate. Some say that it is a safety wall. British don't want to create an atmosphere for 1857 type of revolt. They want to know in advance this kind of revolt. That's why they created this organization. That was the charge against Indian National Congress by some of the later nationalist leaders. Great leader who gave this idea or who made safety valve theory very popular was Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai. When so many organizations were there, already we know different organizations like Dadabai Naoroji organized one, M.G. Ranade created one organization, Feroz Shah Mehta, K.T. Telang, Badruddin Tyabji created one organization, M. Veeraraghavachari, Subramanya Iyer, Anandacharlu, they created one organization. Here in Bengal, Surendranath Banerjee, Anand Mohan Bose created organizations. And in fact, they attempted to create Indian National Conference also to bring all these people into one All India platform. But despite that, why this has become very famous? Because of its popularity, later it was termed as a safety wall against the resistance. British government wanted to safeguard its power in India. On what basis Lala Lajpat Rai was supporting this theory? That is important question. And what is the reality also important one. When it comes to safety valve theory, there was one biographer of A.O. Hume, William Wedderburn. There was a person, William Wedderburn. He wrote biography of A.O. Hume, his life story. In that, he mentioned that INC was created as a safety wall, Indian National Congress. Both are English. And why Lala Lajpat Rai is taking this particular book, this one, as very serious means, after 1905, this book came after 1905, in 1910s it came. Up to 1905, in Indian National Congress, one kind of leadership was there. After 1905, another kind of leadership emerged. These leaders were very moderate in nature. Moderate means they believe in British providential theory. Providential theory means Britishers were continuously propagating the idea that Britishers are here for the betterment of India. These leaders were believing that theory, that British administration in India is good for India because Indians were ignorant. Indians believe more in tradition, conservatism, caste system, religion, untouchability. Their education system also based on religious scriptures like Sanskrit text and Quran. Religion dominates in their life, and also politically also people dependent on the Nawabs, Rajas, Maharajas, absolute authoritarian leadership, absolute monarchs. But when it comes to the modern trends, all these ideas are outdated. Then who will bring the new ideas to India? Either Indians themselves have to adopt new ideas, but this kind of socio-religious atmosphere is not encouraging this kind of atmosphere. Then we need someone. That someone is British. Anyway, it happened. British conquered India. No one expected that British are going to rule, but now anyway British are ruling, and the British, they are coming from a civilization which adopted modern values from this conservatism gradually. That is why they are believing that they are going to bring democratic tradition, liberal tradition, parliamentary tradition, liberty, equality, fraternity, whatever European civilization is representing at that time. What British people, in fact, British citizens were enjoying these rights. Freedom from exploitation, freedom from absolute authoritarianism. They enjoy certain rights. Their taxation policy is also not very cruel, not very harsh. This leadership is expecting that Indians are going to benefit out of these policies because they are coming from such liberal society. But when it comes to the reality, whatever steps they are taking, they are against the promises they are making. That is why gradually some people in the initial phase gradually started questioning this leadership. In 1905, one incident happened, that is Bengal partition, that we are going to discuss in detail later. After this, one group decided that this group is a failed one. Whatever promises British made and whatever this leadership was trying to give to the public, that failed. That is why they need more aggressive approach than this mild approach. This aggressive approach, the leaders who wanted to follow aggressive leadership are termed as extremists. One such leader was Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai. Now, when there was intense debate between these two groups, moderates trying to charge extremists by saying that you are going too far, British are going to use violence, and overall leadership, overall Congress party itself will collapse. That's why don't do that. But when it comes to these leaders, they used to abuse these people that you are very mild in approach. That's why they are not listening. It is the time for strong action. Extremist leadership. When they were abusing each other, when they were charging against each other, the failures of these people and failures of these people, in that context, this book came. William Wedderburn, he wrote this biography of Yeoh Hume, and in this book it was mentioned this INC was created for like a safety wall. Now it gave this book a weapon in the hands of extremist leaders. That is why they charged that this moderate leaders, initial leadership, when it was formed originally, it is a safety wall. That's why they are not strongly criticizing government. That is why they are very moderate in nature. So this is what the evidence to prove that safety wall theory. One is they are not very strong in condemning, they are not taking any extreme step, and also dependent on British civil servant, ex-civil servant Yeoh Hume. This book also is giving the evidence that it was like a safety wall. And this book also created a narrative that Yeoh Hume come across certain secret documents, and he had some contact with some sages in Himalayas who prophesied that like 1857 revolt is about to come, only Yeoh Hume can safeguard it. That is why he created INC and he brought all the rebels into one platform. As a result of it, they were not able to, the government is immediately coming to know about what are the programs and actions of Indian national leaders. That kind of story is also mentioned in this biography. And already in this kind of charged atmosphere, this became weapon in the hands of Lala Lajpat Rai or extremist leaders. They were degrading or charging moderate leaders that you see this. We were already trying to say, but Evo Hume biography itself is talking like this. That is the evidence this book has given this term, this safety wall. Now, when it comes to reality, what is the reality? When it comes to reality, already before 1885 itself, so many organizations were going on. This is also one of the such organizations. When in fact the relationship between Lord Dufferin and Evo Hume not good. When a meeting was planned in this area, he sent, Lord Dufferin sent a message to the governor of Bengal also, Bombay also, that this person has gone mad. You keep watch the activities of Evo Hume. In that way, Evo Hume. And another one, if the story of biography says Himalayas having the sages, they are prophesying 1857 type of revolt, they already visualized, only Evo Hume can safeguard it. It is not possible for any rational thought that already seeing the already future by sitting in Himalayas. That is another argument to prove that it is not a safety wall. So one is the relationship between Lord Dufferin and Evo Hume are not good. If they are not good and they are abusing each other, how can Lord Dufferin dependent on Evo Hume? If Dufferin wants some other kind of, if he needs some kind of organization, he could have dependent on some other person who is favorable to Dufferin. But when it comes to Evo Hume, they were not in good terms. And also, when it comes to the secret documents, which is giving as an evidence, the secret documents belong to Home Department. But Evo Hume did not serve in Home Department. He belonged to some other department. Then how come he got access to some secret documents? So when you dissect the evidence is based on one biography and based on the already they are charging against each other. In that atmosphere, this theory became very popular. But when it comes to the reality, at that particular point of time, relations are not good and only magics are happening only in mythology but not in reality. Secret departments belong to Home Department. He is not working there. That is why that kind of theory, the arguments, counter argument that it is not a safety wall. But the conclusion is whether Evo Hume wanted to create one safety wall for the British or not, we do not know. But initial leaders used him as lightning conductor. Lightning conductor. That means if Lord Dufferin wants to attack Indian leaders, and between Indian leaders and Dufferin, there is Evo Hume. So like a shock absorber, like a lightning conductor, English retired civil servant acted as a buffer between government and Indian leaders. And why moderates dependent on such kind of personality means he is liberal in nature. It is not that every English person is very rigid. Already we have seen in the previous class various viceroys. Lord Ripon. Lord Ripon wanted to bring liberal reforms. He was very liberal in nature. And he is considered as one of the most liberal viceroys India has ever seen. People will be there because they are coming from a society where England is liberal in nature. But the cabinet, British Parliament, Crown, they have certain, that system needs certain kinds of systems to extract revenue from India. But it doesn't mean everyone in England are behaving like this. That is why So much debates used to happen in England, in Parliament, in England, English press, that the administration of India is very cruel. Liberal reforms must come into play. In English, in England itself, there were critics of this government functioning. That is why not every English person is very cruel in nature. He is liberal, sharing the values of French Revolution, liberty, fraternity, equality, and he is sharing principles of democracy, representation. These are the values, these are the modern values, political values, freedom. Everyone should enjoy freedom of association, freedom of expression. He is that person. And initial leaders also dependent. One is he is liberal. Second one, if an English person is there, they can, he can understand, he can handle if there is any kind of pressure. That is why, and Indian leaders are also not in a position at this point of time to directly counter the government force. Because if Indians directly protest against the government is unleashing the force. That is why, as of 1880s, Indian leadership is not strong enough to directly counter the British force. That's why they needed someone. And in fact, he also showing interest. He himself is following these principles. That is why, whether we do not know whether Yeo Hume acted as a safety valve for the British or not, but definitely for Indians, he acted as a lightning conductor. That's what Bipin Chandra, historian, used to give the conclusion. Is it clear? So when it comes to people here, Indian National Congress was established in 1885 in Bombay. First meeting was held with 72 delegates. A.O. Hume was the founder. He was English retired civil servant. All right. Before INC, this INC was created to create one All India platform. But before INC was formed, already Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose, they tried to create one All India platform. That is why that is known as Indian National Conference. And in fact, it was also met two times in 1883 and 1884 also. After that, Evo Hume created this organization, and many people felt this organization, with the help of Evo Hume, will better suits the conditions of 1880s. That's why many people joined hands with the Indian National Congress Association. So with this organization, already whoever were active in the politics, Madras Mahajana Sabha, Bombay Presidency Association, here Indian National Conference, all these people, Indian Association, in Bengal associations were there. All these people are going to join hands here. Some of the initial leaders are like this. Remember this, some of the leaders. Or let me draw map. It becomes easy to understand. This one All India platform is going to attract leadership across India. Across India. For example, from Gujarat, Dadabhai Naoroji. From Bombay, Feroz Shah Mehta. Feroz Shah Mehta. Badruddin Tyabji. Badruddin Tyabji. Surendranath Banerjee. R.C. Dutt. R.C. Dutt. These are the important people. W.C. Bonerjee. From Bengal. So W.C. Banerjee, Badruddin Tyabji, Feroz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee, R.C. Dutt, Anand Mohan Bose. Anand Mohan Bose. P. Anandacharlu. In the people, whoever first in the early phases, these are the leaders. From Bengal also, from Madras also, from Bombay also, from Gujarat also. Across India, different leaders started participating in Indian National Congress. One of the great leaders, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. All right. So these are M.G. Ranade, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Dadabhai Nauroji, Feroz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tyabji, whoever were active earlier in Bombay Presidency Association, whoever active in Madras, like Madras Mahajana Sabha, whoever active in Bengal with various organizations, all are going to become part of Indian National Congress, because if you want to develop the feeling of nationalism, you have to give up the feeling of regionalism. These leaders were looking for leadership beyond their region. These leaders are not for Bengal alone. They are not the Bengal regional leaders alone. They are all India leaders. And he is not only for Madras region, all India. They are not only for Bombay and Gujarat region, they are for all India. That is how Indian National Congress, the early leadership, these were called moderates. In next class, we are going to see what are the differences and what are the policies of moderates and extremists. That we will see in the coming class. All right. So these are different people. Different people are going to play an important role when it comes to initial leadership of Indian National Congress. So many people are there. Likewise, Madan Mohan Malaviya, Dinshaw Vacha, P. Anandacharlu, Subramanya Iyer, Madras Mahajan Sabha. You can remember Subramanya Iyer. M. Veera Raghavachari, all these people, whoever were there in the active phase of before 1885 Indian National Congress, they are now taking INC as the platform, and they are going to contribute for spreading idea of nationalism. Now, what is the difference now? What difference is coming now? If you identify, on top of it, I will draw this. We are in 1885. If you go back to 100 years, 1785, 1761, just 100 years ago, what is the nature? Do you remember? This is Maratha, Nizam, Carnatic. If you go back to 1760s and if you go a little bit 2 decades earlier, 1750s, Bengal, Bengal Kingdom, Maratha Empire, Carnatic Kingdom, Nizam. These people were continuously fighting. Mysore, Marathas continuously expanding. Mysore, towards Mysore, Mysore is fighting with the Marathas, Mysore is fighting with the Nizam, Mysore fighting with the Carnatic, Nizam is fighting with the Marathas. Marathas are expanding their empire towards Bengal, Awadh region, Mughal Empire, this side. That was the politics 100, 120 years ago. Now the politics you see. Now you don't require weapons. Why these people are continuously going for wars and battles? Why Aurangzeb wanted to capture a lot of territories? Why Akbar wanted to capture a lot of territories? Why Ashoka wanted? Why Gupta rulers wanted? Wars and battles are a mechanism to rule India. They have to take the weapons. British have taken the guns. But now, without swords, without sword, without gun, you are going to capture the political power of India if you have people support. If people decide. And here, when it comes to wars and battles, it is related to muscle power. Whoever is strong in killing the people, they are going to become the rulers. But now altogether it is changed. Now nation means it does not belong to any dynasty, any family. Nation belongs to everyone. Nation belongs to people. This is people decide who is going to rule. That is why these national leaders, they are against crown. Gradually they are going to come, they are going to become more radical, but at this phase they are not criticizing the crown rule. But this tradition is going to create an atmosphere for the Indian leaders that they are going to completely hate this monarchy. They don't want any kind of rulers. They want a republic system. That means one of the common person will reach the head of the country. That is what president. Today president understand, the present day president is coming from a tribal community. A tribal woman reaching the president. President is equal to king. But in those times, king means you have to kill many people. But today, you need not to kill. You are eligible. If you follow the constitution allows each and every Indian to reach the top position. That is why. So a Dalit could become the president and a tribal woman could become president. A woman could become president. Likewise, the so-called sections who were treated in the existing rajas and monarchies, Varna system never allow even to enter into villages also. Untouchables not even allowed to enter into tanks to take the water for drinking. And now that untouchable person can reach the king or the topmost position of India. That is thanks to the Constitution of India. But that Constitution is coming with the sacrifices of people like this. So this is the journey that is going to enter into a completely a new direction. Do you see this? So here you have seen different leaders in the initial phases of Indian National Congress. These are the leaders. INC was formed for one All India platform, and this All India platform is going to spread the idea of nationalism. So what is the main objective of this organization means? To spread the idea of nationalism, to bring people from across India to one political cause, that beyond religion, beyond reason, beyond region, beyond religion, beyond caste, they are going to work for the country. They want to spread the ideas of liberalism, democracy, rights, fundamental rights, the political rights, modern values they are trying to spread across India. This is the initial aims of Indian National Congress. As the time proceeds, different developments will take place within INC that will lead to different movements over a period of time. Finally, India is going to achieve independence. All right, let me give you the questions. Number one, who was the founder of Indian National Congress? Second one, in 1885, who was viceroy? Third one, name some leaders of INC from Bombay, Gujarat region. Fourth one, same from Madras region, initial leaders. From Bengal, initial leaders. All right, answer these questions in the comment box. Once you answer these questions, your brain will remember many of the facts. All right, thank you very much.